Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for Broadway World. 16-year-old Andrew Barth Feldman is stepping into the coveted role of Evan in the smash hit musical Dear Evan Hansen beginning on January 30th, and we drop by the Algonquin's Blue Bar to catch up with him. You're about to make your Broadway debut. What's going through your mind?
I'm so nervous all the time. I mean, there's such a responsibility with this role and with this show, but I'm really, really excited to put my Evan out there.
This has to be such a dream come true for you. What was the first Broadway show that you saw when you turned that corner and saw like your first Broadway theater? Like what went through your mind?
Yeah, I saw Beauty and the Beast when I was 3 years old, and we knew the cousin of somebody who was playing Chip. So we got like a tour of the stage and stuff, and my mind was blown that it was just a whole other world completely recreated that we could just step into, and it was real. Especially with that show, you know, it's a whole new world, like the mansion and everything. And I was very scared also because it's a scary show. But yeah, I was done at that point. I was just like, this is it.
So you remember that first time you were standing on stage? There's something about the smell of a theater and something of a smell of on stage. The first day you stepped onto the stage at the Music Box. What was that like for you?
It was. Well, I had already done the Jimmys, and the Minskoff is much bigger than the Music Box. So once I got on the Music Box, I was like, I can do this. Okay. Like just sort of breathing it all in and living in that. Yeah, I'm really excited to be able to continue to live there.
So let's go back to the Jimmy Awards. I mean, just wanting to do that, saying, yes, I can do this. And what was that whole experience like? And then winning.
You know, the Jimmy Awards, to me, didn't feel like a competition at all. Everyone there was so wonderful and supportive and just wanted to do theater so badly. And I love the kids in my year. We had so much fun. So at the end of it, it was just like beyond anything I had ever imagined to win or be a finalist or be there at all. It was amazing. I felt like it was just, I knew the weight of it, and I knew that it was a big turning point for me.
So let's talk about the audition for Dear Evan Hansen. Let's talk about your callback and how you found out you got it.
Yeah, so they emailed me to come in and audition after the Jimmy Awards, and I actually auditioned for the Evan Jared Connor swing, the understudy, so I learned the material for all three, which is a lot of material. But I went in and I did it, and it was Michael Greif and Ben Pasek and Justin Paul and Alex Lacamoire and Stephen Levinson and Tara Rubin and Stacey Mindich, and like everyone I had ever loved was there just looking at me, and I freaked out, but it worked. I just channeled it into Evan. I channeled that energy into what I was giving them. And then a couple days later, my mom got the call that I was cast.
Were you in the car?
So she found out while I was in rehearsal for another show at Broadway Workshop, and so she didn't tell me till after because she didn't want me to like freak out at rehearsal, and then everyone was like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "Nothing." So she told me in the car after, and she had like a list of all the answers to any question I could possibly have and every piece of information. Yeah, I flipped, obviously.
Did you have to keep it a secret?
For months. I knew in July, and it didn't come out till November.
Did you like stay at home? Like how did you not like go out? I tell anybody.
I told people that I had something. I told people that I had a job coming up. That's how I described it. But, you know, I would just be like, I can't tell you what it is. There was so much speculation. And the first question from everyone was, is it Evan? And I was like, no, are you crazy? No way. Yeah, it was crazy.
Tell me what this show and this role means to you. Dear Evan Hansen has touched so many people from the very first performance it had here in New York. Fans fly in from all around the world to experience this show. What it means to you personally and just like taking on this role.
Yeah, everyone feels like they're alone at the theater when they see Dear Evan Hansen. Like there's nobody else there because you are being so seen. And you relate to it so much, you personally, but also you look around and everyone is having the same experience, and in that way it's so communal to feel that from everyone. Seeing the show, it was the most authentic representation of the teenage experience that there has ever been. and I left speechless. I actually literally speechless. And so, I understand that it means so much to people because that's how much it meant and means to me. And so what I'm going to bring to my Evan is what it means to me. And hopefully in that, everyone will see the same thing that it means to them.
Singing this score by Benj and Justin, I mean, you obviously knew all these songs, but what's it like working on them and getting ready to do these on Broadway?
It's very scary. It's such a difficult score. It's so hard. Why did they do this? But working with Liz Kaplan and Ben Cohn, who's the music director, and John Balcourt, another music director, and all these music directors and music people, their number one concern is my health and making sure I can do this consistently. And I'm at the point now where I can. And so it's still super scary. But it's doable. It's manageable. And I'll hopefully sound good while staying healthy.
You're going to be incredible in this. What are you looking forward to, like that first performance on stage? I mean, like what are you thinking in your mind?
I think I'm most scared for the first performance. I mean, obviously, but it's the first time that a boatload of people are going to get to see my Evan. And my Evan is really me. It's everything in me, and I think that applies to everyone. Their Evan is themselves. They see a reflection of themselves in Evan. So I'm very, very excited to leave that all on the stage.
Everyone has been so wonderful for you working on this, right? Who's reached out?
Everyone. Ben Platt was the first person to reach out, and he was so wonderful. So wonderful. And we went to see Waitress together, and we hung out, and he's the best. He is the best human. And Taylor sent me an email on right before it came out, just the nicest email. Everyone, I'm getting DMs. I've talked to now almost the entire cast of Queer Eye, almost everyone except Jonathan Van Ness has not answered me. But everyone else, everyone loves the show so much, and it's really, really exciting. To see a teen in the role. I'm really excited. So I've got to talk to some really cool people.
So when was the last time you saw the show?
I saw it after getting cast. I pretty much went almost every day. I think I saw it 12 times-ish after that. And so probably about a month ago. But since then, I haven't been seeing it so that I can just focus on my Evan without being deterred by Michael Lee Brown's incredible interpretation or Taylor's gorgeous version of Evan. Now I can find my version.
Have any of the other Evans given you an insight to just sustaining the role, or have they given you anything like, do this?
Totally. So none of them have given me advice unless I've asked for it, because they don't want to impose on my process and tell me what they think I need to hear. But if I've reached out to them for advice, which I certainly have, all of them, they've been so wonderful in helping me feel comfortable and safe in the world of Evan.
You're such an inspiration to so many of your fans who are going to be watching here at Broadway World, of taking that step. Am I good enough? Did you always dream of wanting to do this, to be on Broadway or do a musical?
Absolutely. Always this is what I wanted. And in wanting it so badly, I just tried to learn as much as I could from as many people as I could. Even, if I was the lead in a show and someone else is in the ensemble, there's still something to learn from them. There's something to learn from everyone around you, even if they've never done theater before, even if they're there because their parents are forcing them to do it. There's something to learn from their process and their take on whatever they're doing. So I've never stopped learning, and I never will stop learning, and I like to think what got me here.
What was that defining moment for you when you were sitting at home? I just met your mom. She's the coolest lady in the world. Did you tell her, what was that defining moment where you said, I want to be a performer?
I think they sort of saw it. My mom is the anti-stage mom. And so I think in just seeing how much I loved the world of theater and wanted so badly to do it, they were just kind of like, oh, goodness, he caught the bug. And I think it was just kind of like assumed that I wanted to do it, and eventually they were like, it's just like a hobby or whatever, or you need like a fallback plan, like the same thing every theater kid hears. And I was like, okay, but this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I need to do, and I'm going to work as hard as I can until I get there. And that was my plan, was just to keep working on the craft until I got there.
Talk about turning the corner on 45th Street. For the first time after you knew you were cast in this and you saw that marquee, knowing you were going to open that stage door every night to enter this incredible world.
Yeah, well, before that, nobody knew. The first time I went and turned the corner and was like, oh my God, that's going to be my life. Nobody knew. So I was just kind of looking at it with like a group of people and just being like, okay, that's where I'm going to live. Like it made it very real and tangible to have the actual building with the actual stage and the door and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It was just, it made it tangible. And every time I start to lose the reality of it, something happens, or I put on the shoes, or I put on the cast or something where I'm like, all right, I look at myself in the mirror with the polo on, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be Evan, and I am Evan. And each one of those moments has pushed me further and further in the right direction.
Meeting this cast that you're going to be performing with, I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah, it was crazy. The first meet and greet day that I had, Stacy Mindich took me backstage and was like, okay, you're gonna meet everyone now. And I go backstage, and they could not have been more lovely. They are so wonderful and welcoming and helpful, and I'm just like, we're all like best buds now. Like, I have most of their phone numbers. I'm very, very excited to live with them pretty much for a while. They are just wonderful people. There's no show I could possibly imagine that I'd rather be making my debut in, or a cast that I'd rather have supporting me, because they are so incredible as actors and people.
There are so many young people who'll be watching this here at Broadway World. I mean, you were in that audition room with the best of the best. Like you said, Benj and Justin and Steven and Michael and Stacy and all this stuff. How did you channel your energy to do what you do?
You never prepare enough. And I think if you just try to talk to that side of yourself, because there's a little bit of every character in all of us. In every show, we can find some bridge to that character. And if you can get to know that route, then no matter what state of mind you're in, you'll be able to drop yourself into the character. Even if you think that this character is so far from who you really are, you can find something that you can use to sink yourself into their shoes.
My final question is, what are you looking forward to the most about that first performance on stage?
I think as a general statement, I'm just really excited for the world to see what I've been working on and to see what it's all led up to, and to do it with this cast in front of an audience for the first time. I mean, doing the show in front of an audience, doing any show in front of an audience is a totally different experience than doing it in a void. And so for the world to see my Evan, I'm really excited about that.